Photoshop, share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Wunderbar. All right, here we go. Let's go to File New or Command N. And I'm going to get a new document. I'm going to name this Villela_P7_Celeb Splice. I'm going to put 2 because this is the second one I'm doing. And you guys are going to do 3 total. So you want to do Celeb Splice 2 and then V1. Make sure you're working in. Can you guys see this? The dialog box?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Oh, fabulous. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't show that. It's really annoying. So I'm going to do 11 by 8.5. And then 150 resolution. Beautiful. Create. Okay. Smashing. Now, again, there's 2 ways to bring in your images. You can either do drag and drop. So Celeb Splice, grab my 3 images, drag them, and then drop them here. And then you have to hit enter a bunch of times. But now you see like little boxes here. So you want to make sure that you select all of them, right click and rasterize. That just means that now Photoshop sees them as pixelated images and not as vectors. Anyway, ignore all the complicated crap and just remember that if you're going to drag and drop images into Photoshop, you have to right click and rasterize. If you right click and this rasterize is, if this thing right here is grayed out, it means you already did it. Somehow it's already done. So the other way to bring in images, if you guys remember, is File Open. And then you navigate to your folder, grab these guys here, open, but then it's going to open up in separate tabs. So you're going to have your project, Circus, Llama, Will, and then you're just going to go Command A, Command C, Command V, and then go to Llama, Command A, Command C, Command V, and then Will, Command A, Command C, Command V. Some people prefer this method because then you don't have to rasterize it. It's entirely up to you. Okay. Either way, we now have all of our images here. Great. Command T or Control if you're on a PC. You want to pull this bad boy up, cover up all the white. And right about there. Let's rename this guy Circus G and then lock it. And then let's put our llama right there. And I want to cut out the background of my llama real quick. So the lasso tool, you can either hit L on your keyboard and it's going to go to the lasso tool. It's the 3rd one down, or you can just go to this one. It's the same tool in Photopea, you guys. And I think Medibang and Fire Alpaca also, the lasso looks like this. Essentially what the lasso does is instead of like, so this tool that we've used before, which is just pretty much like a rectangle, right? Instead of using the rectangle, it's like a free form. So you can literally make a selection around something organic, really useful. All right, now, if I hit delete now, it's gonna delete what's inside. You wanna do the opposite. So maybe write this down, but you wanna invert the selection by hitting Command Shift I or Control Shift I. And what that does is it tells Photoshop, I want to affect everything but the inside part, because now I can delete and now it's gone, right? And that's smashing because now I can move, oops, get rid of this too. Now I can move Mr. Llama without affecting other stuff. Let's get rid of all this too, because why not? So I'm moving this with V, by the way, so V is useful. Okay, so I have most of the llama erased the background, so I can kind of see where the llama is going to be. And then let's grab Will Ferrell. Ugh, that face. How can anybody stand this face? No, no. So I want, okay, this is going to be actually pretty funny. So I'm going to grab my lasso tool. Let's lasso around. You want to give yourself lots of room to work, by the way. I know I'm not going to have the hat, which is why, you know, whatever on the hat, but I'm going to Command X and then Command V, and then I can just delete this other layer. That's the other way to do this. If you don't want to do the Command Shift I thing, what you can do is you can make a selection. Command X pulls it out, just like in Google Docs. Command V puts it back in a separate layer. And then you can just delete this previous layer here. Cool. And this may seem really complicated, you guys. I promise it's going to get easier. You're going to start remembering the hotkeys and being like, I wonder how I ever lived without knowing this. You can always ask me. You can always ask your neighbors. You can always ask the Google. All right. Will, face, and llama. All right. Now we have our building blocks, right? Now where the fun part comes in, we're going to start putting these together. I'm going to grab my handy dandy Cintiq tool. I'm going to position Will Ferrell kind of sort of around here. But first and foremost, I want to turn him off real quick. And I know that I want a couple things. I know that I want the bangs to be over his eyes because that's going to be funny. And I'm going to grab these like this. And I'm going to hit Command C, Command V. And now I have a, oops, I was in the wrong layer. Command C, Command V. Now I have a layer with just the bangs. All I did was I made a selection around it. And then I did Command C. So like I made a selection here. So say I wanted just this like little, say I just wanted his teeth, right? I'm going to be inside of the llama layer. If I, with this selection here, hit Command C and then Command V, I'm going to get a layer with just the teeth that I can affect separately, which is pretty cool. All right. I'm actually going to keep that because, well, I don't want to confuse you, so never mind. Okay. So I have a layer with just the bangs, which is useful, right? And then I have, but I'm going to hide that for now. And then I also want the snout because I'm going to put the snout over Will. And again, look how much, I'm not going super close because if you go super, super close to what you want, you're not going to have any room to blend. So you want to make sure that you give yourself a good inch around because that gives you room to blend. Okay. I'm in the llama layer. I'm going to hit Command C, Command V. And now I have, and now I have a layer with just the snout. Cool. So I'm going to put Will below the snout because now I have some room to work. Okay. May look like a mess now, but let's start erasing. We'll see what's going. We only have 6 minutes. Oh, not even. Okay. So I'm going to do this as fast as I can. We'll cover this more, you guys, when we come back, but just want to make sure that I give you guys a nice head start. So I'm going to kind of start erasing around the snout. Remember that you can always go back and erase some more. And then let's go to the bangs. I want to get rid of a lot of this information that I brought along the bangs because there's so many little hairs here. Okay. And I just erased, I just hid the other layers that I'm not working with because I don't want to get confuzzled. So I just pumped up the opacity on my eraser because I want to get through this quickly, but it's not good practice. You guys want to keep your opacity pretty low so that you have more control. And as you can see for hair, I'm kind of like leaving little wisps by sort of like gently tapping and pulling upwards. It won't look perfect, especially in the beginning. But the cool thing about versioning up often is that you can always go back and fix, tweak, do your thing. Let's go back to the snout. Get rid of all this crapola. All right, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Okay, let's turn Will Smith's face back on. Now, for Will Smith's face, I want to, as best I can, I really want his expression still there. And so to do that, I'm going to get his eyes kind of sort of where I think they work. And then I might even make the snout a little smaller. So I'm going to grab this and position it a little. And that's the beauty of all this, is that you can position it to work best with your character. And then now, since I haven't decided if I'm going to get rid of his hair or not, I'm going to leave it for now. I just want to get rid of that stupid little hat. Really want to make sure I don't leave a ghost behind. So I want to do lots of cleanup around the edges. I'm doing such a trash job. We only have a minute left. Ah! So I actually might end up not keeping the bangs because they might not work with his little fro thing. Anyway, you guys kind of sort of get the idea. Literally, it's mostly the eraser tool for this project. A little bit of the lasso, a little bit of layer organization, but mostly it's going to be a nice hot date with the eraser. Do we have any questions, you guys, before I let my hand uncramp from all this speed erasing? Questions? Doesn't look that bad, actually. So that's it.
Yeah, could you post like?
Can you what?
Are you gonna post a video of how you could change? Actually, never mind.
I can post this video if you want.
Because like sometimes I forget and I want something to refer back to, but I don't like.
Absolutely. No, and that happens all the time. So if you guys want, I can post this video.
Can you post the video, please?
Yes, I'll post this video of the whole class. I'll erase, like, sorry, I'll just cut out the parts that are boring, but I'll post the video of me doing Justin and what's his face? Will Ferrell. You guys, what's the most important thing you do in the day?
Version up.
Yes. Thank you, Eric. Very good. Version up. That's like literally the most important thing you can do when working in visual effects, animation, special effects is versioning up. Okay, so here we have donkey body. These are just images I collected off the internet. This is Justin head. And I already did a little bit of pre-compositing for you guys, so we don't have to, you have to sit here and watch me. Ears, and let's do BG. So essentially, when I first opened up this project, I had my 8.5 by 11 image, right? My canvas. So this is what you guys always start with. And then I'm going to rename this to file save as, and I'm going to do Vilela underscore P7 underscore celeb splice underscore V1 for version 1. And then I'm going to save it to my desktop. Preferably save it inside your multimedia 1 folder, but there you go. And then I'm going to import in my desktop, or sorry, my background, which you can either drag and drop and then rasterize, or you can hit file, open, and then find your image, copy and paste it in. However you want to do that, boom, right? So there's my background. You notice that my background is pretty trash. I really should have gotten a better resolution background, but I picked this one because I wanted to show you specifically what happens if you have a crappy one. And then I brought in the donkey body, right? And you guys can see the resolution on my donkey body. It's pretty crappy as well, but it's kind of better than my background. And then I'm gonna put in Justin's head, and I'm naming all of my layers just so I know what's what. And all I did when I brought in the donkey body originally started as like a photo of a donkey, and I just erased the background with my eraser. Same with Justin's head. I erased the background with my eraser. And then I got the donkey ears from the same image of the donkey body. It's like the donkey body originally came with a head. I erased the head, but kept the ears. And then I put Justin's head here. Now, you notice that I got a picture of Justin that has his neck at an angle that works with the donkey. Do you guys see that? That was on purpose. I didn't just like pick some random image of Justin. I chose an image of Justin that has a neck in a similar angle. Do you guys see that? Importante. Okay. Yes. And I might change the background actually, because this background doesn't really make a lot of sense lighting wise. Let me turn on my Cintiq. Hi, baby. Happy New Year. I haven't turned you on all break. A bunch of kitty cat paws all over my Cintiq. Let's clean you off a little bit. No signal. How dare you? My Cintiq is a little temperamental sometimes. Shouldn't be for something so stinking expensive. Come on, Bubba. There you go. Fabulous. So let me drag this over. Can you guys still see the Cintiq? Can you guys still see that their green box went away?
We can still see the
donkey and all that. Oh, perfect. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to lock my background because I don't want to accidentally work on it. I'm going to lock my donkey body and my donkey ears because the first thing that I want to do is I want to get rid of the rest of Justin's background, right? So I'm going to grab my eraser. I'm going to turn my opacity and my flow down. And let's go to Justin's head and I'm going to start erasing. Now, I want to show you the difference between erasing with full opacity, full flow, and then having my brush on hard. So like if I make my brush with my hardness all the way up at 100%, which is what the default is, by the way. So you're going to notice that your eraser is going to look kind of like this. It's going to be like really harsh and not cute at all. It's going to be just like, not that great. So what you want to do is
erasing right now?
Huh?
Where are you erasing right now?
Do you see this happening?
No.
Do you guys not see what's happening? Oh.
No, we still see, we see the donkey, but it's like nothing's happening.
Weird. Can you see me turning on and off Justin's head?
No.
Whoa.
I think it's frozen.
Yeah, it's probably frozen.
Okay, let me re-share my screen. Thank you for letting me know. How about now?
Yes, we can see that.
Perfect. Okay, cool beans. Thank you. Sorry about that. Got technical difficulties. So right now my hardness is at 100%, and my opacity is at 100%, and my flow is at 100%. So that means that when I erase, it's going to be like super, super harsh edges. Do you guys see that? Whereas if I turn my hardness all the way down, and I turn my opacity down and my flow down, and I erase, do you see how it's like a lot lighter? I have a lot more control, and it's like easier to like blend. Blendy. So you want to make sure that when you guys are doing compositing, painting too, actually. I mean, a lot of people like to paint like this. So hardness all the way up. So they paint with these like really stiff blobs, right? And then like they, can layer colors on top. I think it's more difficult to paint that way personally. But like what I like to do is turn my hardness all the way down, turn my opacity down, and my flow all the way down, because that way when I paint, right? Let me just give you an example. I have a lot more control over how the colors overlap. I'm literally sourcing the same colors. I'm using my eyedropper tool and sourcing the same colors as what I painted with the 100% opacity. But do you guys see how it's like, it's just so much softer. It's hard to explain. And then on top, I'll grab this color here. So it takes a little longer, but it's just like the blendiness just makes a lot more sense to me. Turn my opacity back up. Let me explain something that I don't think I've explained yet. Have I explained opacity and flow to you guys yet?
You have.
I have. Perfect. Okay, never mind. Does anybody want me to remind you what opacity and flow do? No?
Yes, please.
Okay, no problem. Opacity is like this. a beautifully clean window that you can see everything out of is close to 0% opacity, right? Because if the opacity is very, very low, it means that you can see through it. Nothing's going to show up. So case in point, if I have like a bright red and then I go to my opacity and I put it at 0, when I paint, nothing's going to happen because there's nothing there, right? If I put it at 50%, I'm going to get, or 70%, I'm going to get something kind of, I'm an eraser, Miss V. So if I do like opacity at 50%, I'm going to get kind of, and if I get it 100%, I'm going to get a lot right away, right? So 0% opacity is like a very clean window or nothing. And then 100% opacity is like a wooden door. You can't see through it, right? So 100% opacity means a lot of pixels, a lot of information. Now, flow is a little different. Flow at 100% is like a sexy brand new spray paint can, right? You go and it comes out really, really even and delicious and like you know what to expect. And like the particles come out in a constant flow and great. A crappy old rusty spray can from your garage from 30 years ago may still have paint in it, but it's going to come out kind of like it's going to sputter and whatever. And that's not great for graffiti, but it is actually pretty nice for painting because it keeps your particles, it keeps your pixels kind of randomized, right? So it's actually pretty nice for blending, right? So if you're blending paint or if you're blending, so if you're additively blending, meaning you're blending with paint, it's great. And if you're subtractionally painting, which is like erasing, it's great too. So let's show that with Justin. I'm gonna go back to my eraser, put opacity and my flow at, I don't know, 50-ish%. This is not a law, by the way. You can figure out what works best for you and your image. I do think that hardness should stay at 0 though for painting and for compositing. That's just my personal opinion. I have seen some beautiful work done with 100% opacity, but it's a style. It like looks a certain way. So you want to make sure that you actually like that and want that. Cool. Now I'm going to come around here and I'm going to slowly, gently eat away the edges. Okay. And this is important to do this slowly. And if you're working with a mouse, you have to just click, 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 click. It's kind of a pain in the ass. For those of you that have tablets or iPads, awesome. This is going to be easier for you. But it is doable with a mouse. I have done this many times with the mouse. In fact, we often didn't have tablets in the industry just because of having to move around our offices or whatever. So we often were working with mice and we complained about it loudly to our leads all the time. But it's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I'm literally pulling away any of the pixels that really aren't his hair. And I'm doing my best to sort of just blend it. Getting rid of all this background that he has here. And again, I have my opacity around 50 and my flow around 50 because that keeps the sort of aggressiveness of the erasing down. Justin, you have weird ears. Okay. So if I get to a point where I'm erasing, nothing's happening, like right here, that means that it's part of the body. So let's do like, so you see how it's like actually part of the body. So that's something that we can work on in a second. Let's finish up Justin. And you really want to be careful to not do this, right? I've seen a lot of, especially newbies, they'll like erase around their character pretty carefully or their celebrity choice or themselves or whatever they choose. And then like they'll kind of sort of erase this edge, like outer edge, but you still have this ghost around here. You want to make sure that once you are done cleaning up the edge of your celebrity, you also really get rid of the rest. So like all this needs to be gone. And that just means coming back over here and really cleaning it up. And like having my opacity and my flow down gives me so much control over how this blends into the background. Awesome. And I can even check. I turned off my background, you see? And I can check around Justin to make sure that I got everything. I think I pretty much looks good. Okay. Awesome. So now Justin's ready. Let's get these horrendous donkey. I got the worst image of a donkey, honestly, but let's lock Justin. Let's clean up the donkey ears. Donkey. Dee, dee, dee. Donkey ears getting cleaned up. And there's some of this like fuzzy fur around the edges here that I can kind of try to keep. Not too worried about it though. So you guys can see how carefully I'm not just like coming here with, you know, a very sharp eraser and just killing it, because that doesn't do much in the way of blending. You want to make sure that you are carefully tapping, blend, blend, blend. And I'm almost done. Working as fast as I can.
Is there any other multimedia classes today, or
Is there what?
did you have any other multimedia 1 classes?
No, I didn't.
So are you gonna have to do this again for like other classes?
So typically what I like to do is, I like to do this. I like to linger on these steps a little bit so that you guys can ask questions if you need to. But if I notice in my next multimedia 1 class tomorrow that questions aren't being asked, I'm going to go to version 2. So right after I'm done erasing all the edges, I'm going to save as to version 2, because that way for my next multimedia class, I'll open up version 1, show them, you know, the donkey and Justin not erased, and then I'll sort of start erasing, and then I'll jump to version 2, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there is something though to watching a teacher do this, in the sense of like, how long should stuff take? I think especially, you know, newbies kind of feel bad about themselves when things are taking a long time, but it always helped me to see the teacher also sort of like schlepping through the more boring steps, because it's not just beginners, you know, even professionals have to schlep through boring like steps of their process. It's just part of it, you know. I like to listen to the Run Lola Run soundtrack, and then I get into like the zone and get through this boring part, you know. Or I'll just sit here and mindlessly chat to you guys about Instagram. Remember, if you guys are going to use your friends, which you totally can, especially gamers, if you want to make like a banner. Like my husband recently, he asked me to teach him how to do this because he wanted to put his own face on this like blue monkey for a skin in League of Legends, whatever. I showed him, it was pretty funny. But like, if you're going to use other people, especially your friends, you want to make sure that you get consent first, because people can get kind of butthurt. Like he did it for a friend of his, but the friend got kind of butthurt. It was this whole thing. So, and they're like in their 30s. So you want to make sure that you're like not offending people. Especially nowadays, everybody's offended for everything. You want to make sure that you're not hurting anybody's feelings. Right, so donkey ears, kind of ready. And now let's blend in the body. So I'm gonna lock my donkey ears, unlock my donkey body. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The head is over the body, right? So I actually want to, I'm going to grab these bad boys. Whoops, not the body. I'm going to select the head and I'm going to pull this down a little more because I want to have more pixels to work with. This donkey body, cool. So I'm going to start erasing and I want to make my brush a little bit bigger. Maybe turn my opacity down a little more actually. And I want to gently blend Justin and the donkey body a little better. I want that transition to be as like as smooth as possible. So I'm kind of just tapping away. So it makes it look like the fur is kind of growing out of Justin's head. Why do we have that line there? Donkey body. Oh, I see, it's his clavicle and his stupid tan. Okay. Well, then let's work around that, shall we? I'm going to put some of that information back. And I'm going to erase kind of more down here so we avoid that sort of clavicle area. That's just me being extra. Okay, and then I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Turn my opacity back up a smidge, and let's clean up the edge of the donkey. Do you guys still use something? Do you guys still use Instagram? Or not really?
Yes.
Yes, we
You do? So you guys are not that. Because I thought that Instagram was kind of going in the way of Facebook, where it's like not cool anymore.
Really?
Well, huh?
Really?
Yeah, my little sister, she's 15, and she's like, ew, Instagram is for old people. And I was like, oh,
What,
my
do they only
Lord.
use TikTok now? What?
I guess she has a private Instagram account that she thinks that we don't know about, which is whatever. I mean, I let her be, right? But she doesn't have any posts. She only posts stories. So I guess that's the solution.
I would rather say like TikTok's like a form of entertainment, but like
Yeah,
Yeah, TikTok's like YouTube.
TikTok's like the YouTube.
not like YouTube, but like more like Vine, you know?
Oh, I miss
Oh,
Vine.
more to Vine, yeah.
I wonder what happened to Vine. They just like bad
Didn't they
investments.
get like I
They didn't
don't
put
think
ads on Vine.
What?
They make money off of it.
Yeah.
I think
Didn't
something like like someone like copy or I don't know. I think someone like wanted to take it down or something.
There was some drama with Vine. It's such a shame because that was a fun app. I loved Vine. Lordy, almost done. Okay. See the difference? Voila, let's version up. File, save as. Ideally, I would have versioned up earlier, especially when you guys are kind of still learning and you're working slower. You want to make sure that you're versioning up often. So that's the first one done. And then you go to your second one. So let's do this. I want to, it's 3:20. Let's start with you guys opening up your multimedia one folder on your desktops, and then you're going to create a new folder inside called Celebrity Splice, and you're going to fill it with 3 images of backgrounds, 3 images of animals, and 3 images of celebrity heads. Now, couple caveats. You want to match the resolution. So you want your background to have a similar resolution to the photo of your celebrity, to a similar resolution to the photo of your animal. If your resolutions are a little off, then it looks weird. It's hard to blend them. So that's the first thing. Second of all, you want to be cognizant of the lighting. This is the one that I chose. I probably need to put a new background because the donkey is probably in daylight and I chose a night scene. So that doesn't exactly work. So you want to make sure that you pick something that has proper lighting. And then you also want to make sure that the pose is correct. So I chose a pose of Justin Bieber with his head kind of stretched out because then I could blend his neck into the neck of the donkey. So what I see a lot of beginners doing is they'll get a picture of Selena Gomez that they really like, right? And then, but like her head is kind of cut off by her hair, but then her hair is also not fully in the image. So then they have a really hard time blending that image into their animal because, you know what I mean? So let me explain that better. Say you have a picture of PewDiePie that you really like, right? But PewDiePie is wearing headphones and the headphones are kind of cut off by the top of the screen, right? It's going to be really hard to blend that image of PewDiePie into an image of a python or whatever, because half of the headphones are cut off. And then if you cut off the rest of the headphones, you're actually going to slice off parts of his cheeks, right? So you want to make sure that when you guys find your animals and find your celebrities, you want to get clean images. So images of their whole head and their whole hair. And if the celebrity has long hair, maybe find an image of them with an updo. So that way it's all kind of contained into one spot. Unless you have like, you know, if you want to do like an image of a bird flying and then you want to have Jennifer Lopez flying with the bird and her hair is like, you know, going backwards in the wind, that's fine. But then you want to find an image with Jennifer Lopez and all of her hair. You don't want to have to like cut off half of the character's hair or headphones or whatever, because that doesn't composite very well. So your directive for the next 10 minutes or so, maybe 15, 3 backgrounds, 3 animals, 3 celebs, and make sure that they are, they work with each other. So you're gonna have 3 images total, 3 final images total, and you want your 3 backgrounds to match with your 3 images, your 3 celebrities to match with your 3 animals. Does that make sense?
And we put this in the drive?
You can put, so I would put a copy in your drive, but most importantly, you want to put it inside your celebrity Splice folder, inside your multimedia folder on your computer.